It is, well, first of all, you have to remember the kind of provocating conflict that former Prime Minister Netanyahu had with the administration. And by the way, at the time, Vice President Biden was part of this administration. Didn't use, had no end to it. I mean, it just spoiled the relations Israel had with the administration, with nothing to see to it. I mean, because then they went and they did the JCPOA, and they ignored the fact that Israel was so much against it, and then they didn't listen to so many other things, because Congress was against us, because the administration was angry.
So the whole relationship was sour.
And the whole relationship was sour, and we almost lost. I don't know, I mean, we almost lost the bipartisan statue of Israel in Washington, which we cannot afford. I mean, if there's one asset Israel's security has, it's this special relationship, which are bipartisan. And this is not to be played with, and it was played with. So the first thing we did was restoring, and I think we did a good job restoring the bipartisan statue of Israel in Washington. And we're working very good with this administration on many issues. The Abraham Accords, economy, Syria, Middle Eastern, a lot of security issues. Some of them can be discussed here, some of them cannot. On the JCPOA, we disagree. But we disagree in a manner that helps us work with them, A, on the results of the disagreement, and B, on other issues. We think, yes, the return for the JCPOA is a return to a weaker agreement just because of the time.
Time has passed and the
sunset
clause that still
what has happened is, just for everybody to understand, I know that it's a knowledgeable crowd, but still. The JCPOA was signed in 2015 for 10 years before the lifting of the first sanctions. They didn't move this clause, and therefore it's going to expire. So many limits and limitations are going to expire on 2025. This is 2.5 years from now, or less than 3 years from now. So it's a weaker deal, even if it's the same deal. And we were unhappy with the deal to begin with. I was at the opposition at the time, and we also said we are unhappy with the deal. And of course, we are more unhappy with the deal that has lost 4 years and is going into 2.5 years from now for lifting of sanctions. But there is a dialogue with the American administration about several issues that are surrounding this agreement. A is the fact that the Iranians are now asking for a cancellation of the declaration of the Revolutionary Guard as a terror organization. Now, the Revolutionary Guard is the roof organization, so to speak, of Hezbollah, of Islamic Jihad, of the Houthis in Yemen, and it's a terror organization per se, by itself. So we are talking to them about this, and I think everybody in his right mind should talk to the administration about this and tell them this is just wrong, don't do that. And we are also talking to them about what does longer and stronger mean. When you said, if we're going to this agreement, we're going to improve it in other ways, meaning we're going to make sure Iran does not become a threshold nuclear country in other ways, we are now talking to them what these other ways are and how are we going to deal with this together as the friends we are. And besides, we have maintained publicly our ability to say, you know what, you've signed the agreement. We didn't sign the agreement. It doesn't oblige us. And we're going to do whatever we think is necessary in order to make sure Iran does not become a threshold nuclear country.
But with that said, and they're going towards a deal with the sunset clause still in effect in less than 3 years, and we're getting that the IRGC is still going to be considered a terrorist organization. That's the benefit Israel gets out of this whole thing.
No, I gave you an example. It's an example that the.
So is there something? How are you? Because I mean, you're a communicator, and one of the things I think one of the challenges that you're going to have is how do you communicate this to the Israeli people of not being a failure and being something of we walked away with some sort of success. And as things stand now, it doesn't seem that we've been able to impact the deal in a big way.
You know what? I'm not a communicator anymore. I am.
A politician still needs to be a communicator.
No, we are, as a government, we are in charge of Israel's security. We are in charge of Israel's relations with the United States. And I'm not going to sacrifice those hugely important assets in order to have a great line in the media. So, yes, the easy thing to do is go on television and yell and shout against the administration. But this is irresponsible, and I am a responsible person, and we are a responsible government, and therefore we're not going to have easy profits on the account of the Israeli public and Israel's security.